tips and gratuity. And gratuity is just a fancy schmancy way to say tips. In the last lesson, we talked about discounts. When we calculated the discount, we subtracted it from the total price. This time with a tip, you're giving someone extra money for a service, and so you're actually going to add it to the final bill. So today your goal is I can determine the tip and the total cost of a bill. Okay, so there's one definition and two formulas that we need to look at. So first, a tip is an amount added to a bill for service. So for example, if you go to a restaurant, you tip your waiter. If you get your hair done at a salon, you might tip the person who did that. There's various situations where you would give a tip or a gratuity. So in order to calculate the tip or gratuity, you're going to take the bill times the tip rate. So your tip rate is going to be a percent, and I'll show you how to calculate that. And then your second formula is then you need to take that tip or gratuity and add it to the bill, and that's going to give you your total cost. So remember, when you see the word gratuity used, it means the same thing as tip. Okay, let's get started with our first example. You want to make sure that you have your calculator handy. And the last thing to remember before we get started is just like with discounts, in some situations we're going to have to round, but we're not going to round until we get the final number. If we round each step of the way, then we're going to end up a couple cents off of the final answer. Okay, so example number 1. Leslie's lunch bill is $13.95. She leaves a 15% tip. How much should her tip be? So it's important to note that the question is asking how much the tip should be, not how much the total cost should be. So in your calculator, I want you to do 13.95 times, now we need to do 15%, and just like discount, we need to move that decimal back 2 spots. So times 0.15. When you do that in your calculator, you should get 2.0925. Okay, now it's asking how much the tip should be. So we're going to stop here and round. So we always go to the hundredths place for money. So underline the hundredths place, draw our stick. The next number tells us what to do. The 2, we're going to stay the same. Okay, so her tip should be $2.09. And that will be your final answer for this one. Now, if it asked us how much her total bill should be, we would take this $2.09 and add it to the original bill. But we'll do more examples of that. Okay, example number 2. Ben's dinner bill was $12.15. If he leaves a 20% tip for the waitress, what will his total cost be? So this time we're going to take it that extra step and determine the total cost. So we're going to first calculate the tip. So it's going to be $12.15 times, now we have 20%, so we need to move that decimal back 1, 2, so it's going to be 0.20 equals, now go ahead and put that in your calculator, and you should get 2.43. So the tip, and I'll put T here for tip here, the tip is going to be $2.43, but that's not what the question says. The question says, what is Ben's total cost? So I'm going to take the original bill, 12.15, and I'm going to add the tip to it, 2.43. And when you add those two together, you're going to get a grand total of $14.58. And there is no need to round here because we have we are rounded to the hundredths place already. Okay? All right, example number 3. Tracy's dinner bill was $8.50. If she wants to leave a 15% tip, how much gratuity will she leave? And what is her total cost? So 2-part question. First, how much is the gratuity? Second, when you add it together, what is her total cost? Okay, so let's start off by figuring out the gratuity. We have $8.50 times, now we're going to do the 15%, and we need to move the decimal point back 2 spots, so it's going to be times 0.15. Go ahead and put that in your calculator, and you should get 1.275. Okay? Now, here's where we can get tricky. The first part of the question says, how much gratuity should she leave? So for that answer, we are going to have to round this number. So here's our hundredths place. Put our stick. This 5 is going to tell us that we need to go up. So how much gratuity should she leave? She should leave $1.28. Okay? For this guy right here. However, we need to take this a step further and figure out her total cost. Because we're going to keep going with the problem, I'm going to take this full number and not round until the end. So take 8.50, which was the original bill, plus 1.275, which was the tip. Add those up, and you should get 9.775. Now we're going to round this number for our final bill. So we underline the hundredths place, draw our stick. The 5 tells us that we're going to round up. So her total cost, and I'll write down here total, is going to be $9.78. So that is her bill plus her tip. All right, let's try another one. Number 4. Jacob and Michael went out to dinner. Together, their bill was $23.45. They split the bill, and they each leave an 18% tip. How much does Jacob leave as a tip? They don't want the total cost, they just want the tip. So there's a couple different parts to this problem. So the first thing is we have Jacob and Michael. So that's 2 people. This is their total bill. First, we need to split the bill into 2. So $23.45 divided by 2. Go ahead and calculate that. And you should get 11.725. Okay? So this was Jacob's share, and this was also Michael's share. Now they leave an 18% tip. We're not going to round yet because we don't have our final answer. So this is Jacob's bill, so 11.725, oops, make that look like a 7, times, we need that 18%, so we need to move the decimal back 2 spots, so times 0.18. Go ahead and put that in your calculator. And you're going to get 2.1105. Okay, again, we need to make sure that we're rounding at the right point. So, does it want to know how much his tip is or what his total cost is? Well, in this case, it wants to know what his tip is. So we're going to take this number and we're going to go ahead and round it off so that we know his tip. So here's our hundredths place, draw our stick, put our circle. So his tip, and that'll tell us to stay the same, so his tip is going to be $2.11, and that's going to be your final answer. Okay, let's try example number 5. Mr. Barron treats all 172 Panthers team students to lunch at Red Robin. The total bill is $1,560. He leaves a 15% gratuity. Remember, gratuity means tip. What is the cost of the total bill, include the gratuity? That should say, including the gratuity. Okay, so let's go ahead and calculate this. So our original bill is $1,560. The tip rate is 15%. So we're going to multiply by, move our decimal point back 2 places, times 0.15. Go ahead and do that in your calculator. And you should get an even $234. That's our tip. But it doesn't want to know what the tip is. It wants to know what the total bill is. So let's take our total bill again. $1,560 plus $234. Go ahead and calculate that. And you should get $1,794 even. And that is what Mr. Barron pays for all of us to go out to lunch at Red Robin. Thank you, Mr. Barron. All right, let's look at example number 6. So Hallie and Rachel go to Starbucks for some coffee. Their total bill was $15.62. They used a 10% off coupon. Oh, there's a discount. And they left a 15% tip for the barista after the discount. How much did Hallie and Rachel pay after the discount and the tip? So this is our first problem where we're taking what we did in the last lesson, discounts, and we're combining it with tips. The important thing to know, and you can make yourself a note, is the first thing you do is the discount. Then the second thing you're going to do is the tip. Okay? First you calculate the discount, then you calculate the tip. So let's go ahead and get started. So we have $15.62 times our 10%. We need to move the decimal back 1, 2. So times 0.10. So let's go ahead and figure out what their discount is. All right, so you should get 1.562. Remember, no rounding yet. We're not at the end. Okay, so now how much was their bill after the discount? So we're going to take 15.62 minus 1.562. Go ahead and do that in your calculator. And you should get 14.058. Again, no rounding. We're not at the end yet. Okay, so this is how much they're going to pay after the discount, but now we need to go ahead and add the tip. So our new total, let me give myself some room here. Our new total bill is $14.058 times, now we're going to calculate the tip just like we normally would, 15%. So we move the decimal back 2 spots. 0.15 equals, go ahead and calculate that. And you should get 2.1087. Okay? And because it's a tip, it's added to the bill. So 14.058 plus 2.1087. So we're going to add those up. And you should get 16.1667. So that's how much their total bill is. Now we need to round. Here's your hundredths place. Here's your stick. Circle the number after. It's a 6, so we're going to round up. So that 6 is going to become a 7. So their total bill was $16.17. Not hard, but it does combine the last lesson in this one. All right, let's move on to example 7. Miss Chapman threw a birthday party for her young son. She tipped the party organizer 17% for making the party great. How much of a gratuity did Miss Chapman leave for the organizer? So I just realized that I did not put an amount in here. So let's see. Let's see what your guided notes say. All right, so in your guided notes, it says that it was $2.99. Okay. So I forgot to add that to the slide here. All right, so she paid $2.99 for the party, and she tipped them 17%, the party organizer. So this is just a basic calculation, and it wants to know how much gratuity did she leave. It does not want to know the final bill. So we're going to do $299 times 17%, and you know we need to move the decimal point back 2 spots, so times 0.17. Go ahead and calculate that. And you should get 50.83. So how much was her gratuity? Her gratuity was $50.83. All right, now again, if I wanted to know the total cost, you would add that to the $299. Okay, example number 8. All right, Ishan bought dinner for some friends at Panera. She paid $34.90. She used a coupon for 15% off. Then she went back and bought a cookie for $1.09. The service was so good that she left an 18% tip. How much did Ishan pay in total? So this is going to be a multi-step problem. It's not hard, you just have to follow the steps, or you just have to follow the problem each step of the way. Okay, so remember we said first thing is going to be discount. Second is going to be tip. All right, so let's first calculate our discount. $34.90 times 15%. So we move the decimal point back 2 spots, so times 0.15. Go ahead and calculate that. And that should give you 5.235. Okay? So let's go ahead and now calculate what's her bill with that discount. So 34.90 minus 5.235. Go ahead and put that in your calculator. And you should get 29.665. Okay? So right now, this would be her bill with the discount. But we're not rounding because we're not at the end. So she goes back and buys a cookie after the discount. So take her new total, 29.665, and add that cookie, $1.09. And you should end up with 30.755. Okay? Again, we're not done, so don't round yet. Now, we've done the discount, we did the cookie, now we need to do the tip. So what's our new total? 30.755 times, what's the tip? 18%. I need to move the decimal back 2 spots, so times 0.18 equals, go ahead and calculate that. And you should get 5.5359. Now, because it's a tip, we add it onto the bill. If it was a discount, we would subtract it. So we're going to have 30.755 plus 5.5359. Go ahead and add those up. And you should get 36.2909. Now, we've done the tip as well. How much did she pay in total? Let's round it up. Here's our hundredths place. And here's our stick. Here's our circle. 0 tells us to stay the same. So her total bill is going to be $36.29. And that is with a discount, a cookie, and with a tip. Okay, let's move on to example number 9. Phillips and his 3 friends ate at Applebee's. Their total bill was $52.35. If they left the server a 20% gratuity, how much would each person pay if they divided the bill evenly? Okay, so first we need to divide that bill up before we add the gratuity. So we have 52.35. Now, how many ways are we dividing it? Phillips and his 3 friends. That's a total of 4 people. So we're going to divide by 4. So go ahead and put that in your calculator, see what you get. And you should get $13.0875. Okay? Now that we have what each person pays, they each give a 20% gratuity to their server. So we have 13.0875 times 20%. And I need to move my decimal point back 2 spots. So times 0.20. Go ahead and calculate that. And you should get 2.6175. Now, because it's gratuity, we add it to the bill. If it was discount, we would subtract. So the bill was 13.0875 plus 2.6175. Add those guys up. And you're going to get a total of 15.705. Now that is our total because we split the bill and we included the gratuity. So let's round off our answer. Underline the hundredths place, draw your stick, circle the next number. The 5 tells us to round up, so this 0 becomes a 1. So the total bill for each person, including gratuity, is $15.71. Okay? All right, last example, example number 10. A magazine at a newsstand says that it is 70% off the original retail price of $29.99. You purchase the magazine and tip the salesperson 12%. What do you pay in total? So it's 2 parts, okay? Remember, first we always calculate the discount. Second, we calculate the tip. All right, so let's get this started. So what's our original price? $29.99 times it's 70% off. So we move the decimal point back 2 spots. So it's going to be times 0.70. So go ahead and calculate that. And you should get 20.993. So because it's a discount, we subtract it from the price. So $29.99 minus 20.993. So go ahead and calculate that. And you should get 8.997. Now we're not done because now we have to add the tip for the salesperson on there. So right now our total bill is 8.997 times, so I'm going to check off my discount. Now we have to do the tip. The tip was 12%. So we're going to move the decimal back 2 spots, so times 0.12. Go ahead and calculate that. And you should get 1.07964. So that's what the tip is. So add that on to the current bill. So 8.997 plus, because it's a tip, we're adding 1.07964. All right, what does that equal? We're going to add a large number here. So that's going to equal 10.07664. Now, go back to our problem. We did the discount and we did the tip. What do we pay in total? Let's round it off. Here's our hundredths place. Here's our stick. Here's the number after. The 6 tells us to round up, so that 7 becomes an 8. So, what do you pay in total? $10.08 for your magazine, including discount and tip. All right, this is the end of this lesson. As always, you can rewind, fast forward, or pause to work at your own speed. And if you have any questions, please ask me in class.